You played the guitar on the MTV. I ain't working, that's the way you do it. Money for nothing and the chicks are free. I ain't working, that's the way you do it. So, and guys and dolls, on your little finger. Maybe get the faggot to be a millionaire. Oh. I like the part of the song where they go, that little faggot, he's a millionaire. You can't play that on radio. Actually, you probably can still do that on radio. You could probably still do that on radio. It would be part of the most controversial songs in classic rock history. I used to do that every Friday on 92.7 The Zoo. We used to do a segment called the most controversial songs in the history of classic rock. We used to do that on the Zoo. But we're going to connect with Debra. We're going to bring in all of our fine feathered friends and get everybody brought in here to the mix. We're going to find all the different people because we have an ensemble cast, as they say today. If Skype will let me add everyone. Kind of helps.
You guys see me?
I do see you. I got to get everybody added before we can get the ball rolling here. But
Gotcha.
we are live here on our world-famous Jiggy Jaguar radio broadcast. Of course, the Sunday radio show, the Jiggy Jaguar Experience each and every Sunday. And we are going to be live with a great guest here in just a few moments. And we are going to take a shot and see if we can find the biggest star in the business, Angel Medina. We'll see if we can get him in here. He told me the other day he would join us, so I don't know. Who knows? Because sometimes, who knows? But that's all that can be said about Angel. He is an enigma. He is lots of other things that smart people say. And as soon as we can get everybody in here, we will get off and running. And welcome to it is the Sunday radio broadcast. Each and every Sunday, we bring you the Jiggy Jaguar Experience. If you miss it on Sundays, you can always catch the replay on the Mix, which is on Tuesdays. And I believe we've got Mr. John Mosier, the biggest star in the business. There he is. Forget about it.
Howdy.
Forget about what you heard. Forget about ferrets and jello fights. Forget about dogs and... It's gerbils and batting cages, dogs and Sanders. I don't know where that came from. That's a Cousin Chris thing. But Jay Bird Wells is going to join us from her she shed here in a minute, broadcasting from her she shed with Coffee Thief and everyone else. She's got herself that they have the bubbly bunch on AEW. Jay's got her own bubbly bunch. But we have got a great guest going to be joining us here in just a few moments on the old Skype, the old Skype-a-rooney. And, I have really enjoyed saying the Skype-a-rooney. I used to get ridiculed on this show by one of my co-hosts, the great Nate, who used to yell and scream at me and tell me that it isn't the Skype-a-rooney. But, in all fairness...
As an Italian American, I vote for Skype-a-rooney.
Well, I like Skype-a-rooney, and one of the things that I always say, because it's kind of the punchline when it concerns Nate, Nate used to, yell and scream about how, it's not the Skype-a-rooney! And then he did cocaine on my co-host desk one time, so I guess it all balances out. And we go to the Skype, and we've got Jay Bird Wells joining us with her ears, and we have John Mosier with his traditional headphones, and then we have our guest Debra Devi with us. So Debra, we had you on our other radio program a couple weeks ago. And yes. I really wanted to have you on the Sunday show with our little ensemble here.
Thank you.
Talk to us a little bit about yourself. Educate us on what makes you the greatest star in rock and blues.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, no. But Debra Devi is my name, and yes. I'm a blues rock, jam, guitar player, singer. I have a new EP that just came out April 23rd called A Zillion Stars Overhead. And it's me with government mule bass player Jorgen Carlson and drummer John Hummel, who some people might know from Tom Marshall's Amphibian project, Tom Marshall from Fish.
Awesome.
And we just got in a room and jammed our faces off, basically. And the result was this 5-song EP that's just come out. And that's me. I'm also a writer. I authored a book called The Language of the Blues. Yeah.
So I guess we'll start with your book. Tell us a little bit about this book.
I think I have a copy around here somewhere. Hold on.
It's like the old it's like the old Carson show. She brought a clip.
Yeah.
Which is smart.
What was her name again?
It's Debra
Devi.
Debra Devi, and you can
Yeah.
find her online, DebraDevi.com. That's Debra Devi. And Jay always likes to, as she likes to put it, stalk people. So she'll be.
Don't worry, she won't like show up on your front porch or anything, so you're good about that.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm in Jersey City, so I'm a ways.
Yes, Doc.
The book, it's called The Language of the Blues from Alco Road to Zuzu, and it has a foreword by Dr. John, our dearly recently departed Dr. John. And it's a dictionary of the words in blues songs and what they really mean. So, like, if you wanted to know what is Robert Johnson talking about in Dust My Broom, or what does hoodoo mean, what does mojo mean, I just got really interested in that subject, and I interviewed a lot of amazing blues artists for it, many of whom have passed away since, like Hubert Sumlin, who was Howlin' Wolf's guitar player for decades and best friend, and
Wow.
Robert Jr. Lockwood, whose mother was Robert Johnson's girlfriend, and they all lived together for 7 years. And I just interviewed as many of these sort of elder blues musicians as I could find. So there's some amazing stories from them in here as well. So yeah, it's my book.
Awesome. Now,
So did
go
you
ahead,
do
Jay.
any research on any of the jazz bars or the blues bars?
The bars, no, not specifically. This book is about like the words in songs and the lyrics and what they mean. So I was focused on that, yeah. Although there is an interesting story in here under the definition for checkerboard about the Checkerboard Lounge in Chicago. And the reason that it's called, that we have a lot of places called checkerboard, is that there is something in West African society called nizbidi, which are, it's a word that means ideograms, so like pictographs, so like hieroglyphics sort of, it's a symbol that means something. And there's a symbol for the leopard society, which was basically the king's cabinet, like all the people around the king. And it sort of looks like a checkerboard flag. And if you look closely at it, you can see leopards in it, but it's got checkers, like this. So it became a symbol for like a male sanctuary away from everybody else where, business could be discussed among the men. And that's where we get the checkerboard lounge and the checkerboard sign for bars.
So kind of like the man cave.
Yeah, exactly. The very important man cave. Because they all are very important, apparently.
The high society man cave.
Yeah. So the book delves a lot into West African culture and how that kind of came over here with people who were brought here as slaves, and how then it kind of entered into our blues music, rock, jazz, everything.
So Debra, this book is pretty amazing. Take me through the writing process of putting this whole thing together.
Well, I started, I'm a rock musician, not a blues musician, but I was super inspired by the blues, in part because being a female guitar player, I was not encouraged. In fact, I was strongly discouraged from playing electric guitar when I was growing up. I did have an acoustic guitar, and I lived a fairly sheltered life in a north suburb of Milwaukee. But I met an older guy who was booking blues musicians into a theater in Milwaukee called the Metropole. And he snuck me in there one night to see Coco Taylor and Sun Seals. And I flipped out. I'd never seen the blues. I'd never danced to live music. And I just flew out of my chair and was dancing. And, I just sort of fell in love with the blues. then I moved to New York and I joined a bunch of punk bands because I really could barely play, but I could get into these like punk bands. Um, but I always had this interest in the blues, so I would write about it for magazines. And I started collecting a list of words like hoodoo and mojo. And I'm like, what do these words mean? So I ended up getting a book deal, a small book deal, to write about it. And this book came out of that, and I just interviewed as many people as I could, and wrote for like 16 hours a day. It was like got very intense for a while there, and yeah, that's how it happened.
That's really neat. I was going to ask you about all the different stuff you do. I mean, from being a speaker to an author to, is your Huffington Post blog, is that like a regular thing, or is that just kind of here and there? I mean, you've been from NPR to USA Today. I mean, it's pretty amazing all across the board where you've been.
Thank you, thank you. The Huffington Post blog I haven't done in a long time because they changed their platform recently, so it's no longer really as accessible for bloggers. And I just didn't really follow up on it because I've been really busy with music too. But yeah, I kind of split my time between writing and music, and the, you know, I forgot what the question was.
Well, it's just like, I mean, it was more, I was just kind of like letting everybody know you've got a wide variety of different things you've done, from speaking engagements to being a performer to being a writer to being an author to, I mean, you're all over the board.
That's true.
And I mean, it's very.
Thank you. I never meant to do any speaking engagements. I mean, I'm actually pretty shy. I normally when I'm on stage, I have a big loud rock band with me, and that makes me feel very secure. The guys in my band are really amazing. But I actually got invited to do a TEDx talk in Jersey City based on my book, and I really felt nervous, but I thought I was going to be fine. And I remember standing in the wings looking out, and there were about 2,000 people there. And I suddenly had this terrified feeling about walking out on stage alone. I've performed in front of that many people with a band, but I've never walked on stage alone to talk to people. I was just terrified. But, once I got out there, you just kind of do it, you just do it. So I've since done more of that. I've done more speaking at colleges. And a lot of times now we mix it up where I'll talk about the book and then the band and I will play a set. And we'll do a lot of my original music, but we'll also throw in some blues standards and kind of mix it up a little bit. So I've been doing some of that, and I'm getting a little more comfortable with it.
Well, I can imagine it's probably easier because of the energy, and when you're on stage for a performance, it probably helps you actually be more at ease than having to walk out there to put, a stool with a microphone on it or something. It's like a lot of people are funny with their friends than they are when they try to do open mic night at a comedy club. Trust me, I know.
Well, I've actually been rewatching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which, if you're into stand-up, is such a great show on Amazon. And I just am astonished at the character's bravery. At anybody who will do stand-up comedy, my hat is off to you. You couldn't pay me all the money in the world to get on stage and try to tell some jokes. I'd lose it. But with my band, I play with really extraordinary musicians, and I'm just, when we're on stage, I feel like the focus is shared on all of us, and it's a group effort, and then it's an effort with the audience, so it's a different kind of experience. Yeah.
So what's the biggest group you played in front of? What's your biggest
audience
attendance at a? Yes. Trying to think.
Well,
I could think of
it depends on which band I've been in. In my current band, I think our biggest audience has just been a few hundred, which has been great. I've played and toured as a guitar player in some previous situations where there were like 2,000 people or 800, 600, pretty large audience. The bigger the audience, the happier I am, honestly, because there's more energy, there's more vibe. It's just a fun experience. It's actually scarier and harder to play to like 20 people and try to keep them engaged, and hope that they're having a good time.
Oh yeah, trust me, I know that too.
Yeah.
Now, Deborah, the new EP, A Zillion Stars Overhead. Let's talk about this EP. It is available Google Play, Amazon, iTunes, Spotify. It's available worldwide. You can stream or download it. Tell us about this.
Sure. Well, the one thing I want to say quickly before we hop over that subject in response to what you guys just said is, speaking of audiences, that I'm actually doing a weekly live stream now that we're all in this sort of pandemic situation. So Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, I am performing to no one in the room, and that is very challenging. But we've had like Thursday we had 60 people in the chat room, and so there is like this vibe developing that's really fun. But yeah, so currently I'm performing to no one. But yeah, the EP is really close to my heart because it emerged from this kind of nice conversation that I had with Jorgen Carlson, who is the phenomenal bass player for Government Mule, with one of my all-time favorite bands. If you guys are Mule fans, so it's like, they play in New York City every year at the Beacon Theater. They do their New Year's Eve run. I think it's like 3 or 4 shows. And I was backstage with Jorgen's manager, and he and I ended up chatting. And he's he has his own recording studio. He knows a lot about production. So we just got into this heavy conversation about music that wound up with this idea that maybe we should record together. I was like, okay, that sounds cool. And then he actually was able to come out to Jersey about 6 weeks later. And we went in the studio, me, him, and my drummer, John Hummel, and an amazing guy named John Agnello, who's a kind of renowned producer. Like, I produced the record, but John did this session with all of us. And we really didn't know if it was going to gel or what was going to come out of it, but it was like great chemistry and just a blast,
Yeah.
So from those tracks, this EP, I went on to overdub guitars and vocals and stuff like that. But from that one session, we got this record. So it's fun.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
pretty fantastic. Now, Deborah, the writing process for this, putting all this together, you guys produced a great music collection here.
Thank you so much. Well, the songs, because this all happened so fast, I actually didn't have a lot of new songs. I've been writing a bunch now that we've been in quarantine. But, I really didn't think Jorgen would be able to get out to Jersey as quickly as he did, but he wanted to come out for a big benefit at the Beacon for God's Love We Deliver. So I actually just dug up some songs that I had and I sent them to him, and we decided which ones we were going to try in the studio, and that's kind of how that came about. So I already had the songs written, and we just hit them, and it came out well, thank goodness.
Do you have a special place that you write them, or do they just come wherever you're at?
I usually write at home late at night, and I have this weird thing about using sketchbooks and Sharpies. That's like the only way I write songs. I think I have one here. Let me see. No one else can read the writing. I don't think. Let me see if I can find a scribbly mess of a song.
By the way,
I love this.
if you want to get this, A Zillion Stars Overhead, the new EP is out now. There it is on screen, as you can see.
That's actually just like that's a new song, a writing chart for a new song that I just wrote. A lot of things scribbled out, and I don't know. I don't know why I don't write in pencil so I can erase things, but like I just have to be a Sharpie, a black Sharpie, and it has to be a sketchbook. That's just the way it is. So I don't know. But usually late at night. And to answer your question, I mean, a lot of times I'll start writing a song because I have an emotion maybe that I don't know how to express, and so I'll pick up my guitar and start playing something on the guitar until it kind of brings out that emotion.
Yeah.
The lyrics often come later after the guitar is written. Then I struggle with the lyrics.
So,
out.
You've got all sorts of things in that space there. You've got guitars, you've got your amps.
Yeah.
You've got all sorts of things. How big is that space there?
I'm hunkered down, man. It's not, I'm in an apartment that's about 825 square feet. So it's not huge, but it has really high ceilings, so it makes it feel bigger. I'm in the Bergen-Lafayette section of Jersey City, which is near Liberty State Park, which is not far from like the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
That famous park across from the Statue of Liberty. And I love living in Jersey City. It's actually the most diverse city in America. It's pretty cool. So, there's a lot of influences and people from all kinds of different cultures and races here, which I actually really love being with and around. I have we have great friends in the hip hop community, the rock community, the, blues country community, and everybody gets along really well and connects and interacts with each other. And, we do a lot of cool things together in this town, which has made the quarantine and the separation pretty tough. But yeah, I've got guitars here. And I don't know if you guys can see my amplifier, Homestead.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Here. This is a really cool company in Pennsylvania, and it's run by Peter and Heather McMahon. Peter McMahon used to work with Cesar Diaz, who made all the amps for like Dylan and Stevie Ray Vaughan,
Wow.
and I think Santana. Cesar Diaz, you've heard of? Yeah.
Yes.
So he now has his own company called Homestead Amps, and he makes he makes custom amps for Warren Haynes and Jorgen Carlson and Jimmy Herring, and he's done stuff for Marcus King. And I'm their very first and one and only so far female guitar player. So I'm very proud to have a Homestead in my homestead.
So, would you be able to do an acoustic song for us? I know the last time I had you on, we just kind of threw this out of nowhere, and it was a hit. And so I figured I would see if you could do something for us again.
Yeah, I didn't warm up my voice again today either. I started to, and then time got away from me. Believe it or not, I'm like working on another book project right now, so I'm like really busy. Yeah, but yeah, what the hell? It's really great to talk to you guys. I mean, I know we've all just been like crawling out of our skins with this whole thing, and you get really just like stir crazy and lonely. So it's nice to see some people and talk. If my answers are like really long and talkative, that's because I've been cooped up. Oh, I'm in a different tuning. This might be fun. Hold on.
I admit I was ready to go and rip the crime tape off the playground and go play.
I know, right? Oh my God. Where are you located?
Kansas.
Right in the middle of Kansas.
Y'all are in Kansas still? So how are things out there? Are they a little less hairy than they are here probably?
Oh yeah, it's just, it's still just as boring, and it's still as over proportionized, but we don't have the escalation of stuff like they do out there on the East Coast, so.
Yeah, it's been rough here. I've lost friends, and it's shocking, I you open up Facebook, which is normally like a light diversion, and you just see, that's how I found out one of my friends had died. I opened up Facebook and I was just like, oh my God, and so we're seeing, it's better. It's definitely better. But we're seeing like a lot of death and a lot of terrible stuff. And it's been really hard. I live pretty close to the hospital here in Jersey City, and the sirens have slowed down, but man, there were a few days where it was just nonstop sirens. And it's just really frightening.
Yep.
People are being rushed.
I can imagine.
Yeah. But, we've, and New York City, of course, I'm right across the river from New York City. So Jersey City is kind of considered the sixth borough of New York, like Brooklyn, Queens, Jersey City. I haven't been in the city, since it started. All my friends there are, locked down. So, yeah, it's been painful. But it seems like we're emerging, the numbers are getting a little better every day, and all we can do is really pray that the situation continues to improve,
Oh, yeah.
So you guys are like feeling safe safer out there, and hopefully you'll be able to loosen restrictions sooner than us. And cool. Can you guys see enough of the guitar? Does that matter?
Well, we've got you. You're fantastic. Okay. You've got the guitar and.
All right. I don't fall off my stool. Okay, cool. I'll play this song. So this is from my live stream. The guitar is actually in a weird tuning called open E. So if I just strum it like this, it plays an open chord, open E chord. See how my voice is doing.
Wow. That was pretty awesome.
I like it.
Oh, gosh. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic.
Voice is a little ragged, but it'll warm up.
Well,
early in the day.
as we go, my friend, give us some plugs. How do we find your music, buy your music, and get involved with you, buy your books, everything?
Sure. Well, first of all, I really appreciate you guys. This has been a lot of fun. And, yeah, my website is always a center for everything, debradevi.com. The record, A Zillion Stars Overhead, is out everywhere. Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify, my Spotify artist page. The book is in Amazon, Language of the Blues. and on my website. And find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff, and come say hello.
Awesome.
Hi.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate it. And Deborah, have yourself a wonderful